You didn't believe she was dead?
For a long time. I just refused to accept that she was gone. Part of, she would never do this to us, but also part of, maybe this is all part of a plan. Quite a severe head injury, but she was very much still alive on the back seat. And those people that caused the accident, instead of helping, were taking photographs of her dying on the back seat. And then those photographs made their way back to news desks in this country.
Princess Diana, the people's princess, stepped into the royal spotlight with her marriage to Prince Charles.
Ostensibly no, but given the fact that the Princess of Wales believes that Prince Charles's friendship with another woman, Camilla Parker Bowles, has cast a long shadow over that marriage, must be considered when you look at the failure of this 11-year union.
Despite her doubts about the hasty proposal, she saw it as a way to escape her troubled family. But the royal life was anything but a fairy tale. Her marriage to Charles brought to light many secrets, and she faced unkind treatment from the royal family. Distraught by infidelity and cruelty, Diana sought revenge, only to tragically die in a car crash in 1997. Now, decades later, her son is revealing secrets about Charles. Why is he breaking his silence? Join us as we look into the secrets leaked by Princess Diana's son about King Charles' Princess Diana's early life and career. Princess Diana's marriage to the royal family and the controversies that trailed her life after brought her to the limelight. But she had quite an eventful life, even before then. Let's delve into when and how it all started. Diana was born on the 1st of July, 1961, to Edward John Spencer, the Viscount Althorp, and Frances Ruth Burke Roche, who later became known as the Honorable Frances Shand Kidd. She was born as Diana Frances Spencer, and later became Lady Diana Spencer in 1975.
Above all, we give thanks for the life of a woman I'm so proud to be able to call my sister. The unique, the complex, the extraordinary and irreplaceable Diana, whose beauty, both internal and external, will never be extinguished from our minds.
After her father inherited the Earl Spencer title, her connection to the royal family is evident in her place of birth. Princess Diana was born at Park House, a home that her parents rented on Queen Elizabeth II's estate in Sandringham, England.
The former home of Elizabeth Head Gardner on her Sandringham estate can be rented for about $400 a night next February for a minimum of 3 nights.
The royal family frequently holidayed at the neighboring Sandringham House.
London. Queen Mary left Marlborough House for Sandringham, where the royal Christmas was to be spent as a family party.
And Diana played with Princes Andrew and Edward. With such a noble background, how did Diana's early life lead to her eventual fate and controversial life? Get ready for the most epic moment of the video. Diana was the youngest daughter of her parents, and she had 2 older sisters, Jane Fellows and Sarah McCorquodale, and a younger brother, Charles Spencer, 9th Earl Spencer. She had another brother, John, but he died in infancy a year before Diana was born.
From her mother's devastating loss of a baby boy,
she was never allowed to hold her first son.
Both of her grandmothers, Cynthia Spencer and Ruth Roche, were ladies-in-waiting to Queen Mother Elizabeth. After losing John, her parents were hoping for another boy to carry on the family line, and so they didn't choose a name for a week after her birth until they settled on Diana Frances after her mother and Lady Diana Spencer, a great-aunt who was also a prospective Princess of Wales as a potential bride for Frederick, Prince of Wales. Diana was also nicknamed Dooch within the family because of her duchess-like attitude in childhood. On August 30th, 1961, Diana was baptized at St. Mary Magdalene Church, Sandringham. Despite her birth as the 3rd child and 4th born of the family, her parents still wanted a male to be their heir, and this really put a strain on their marriage, especially after Lady Althorp was sent to Harley Street clinics in London to determine the cause of her inability to produce a male heir. Her younger brother Charles would later describe this sole event as humiliating and a dreadful time for his parents. It was in fact probable that this was the root cause of their divorce.
Paul Workman now on the world's most famous couple, heading for the world's most famous divorce.
Diana was 7 years old when her parents divorced, and her mother went on to marry Peter Shand Kidd in 1969. Diana still lived with her mother in London immediately after her parents' separation in 1967. But after going on holiday to her father's home during the Christmas holiday that same year, her father, Lord Althorp, refused to let his daughter return to London. Shortly after, he won custody of Diana with the support of his former mother-in-law, Lady Fermoy. In 1976, Diana's father married Rain, Countess of Dartmouth. Their stepfamily relationship wasn't typical. Diana didn't get along with her stepmother and often called her a bully, even pushing her downstairs once. She described her childhood as very unhappy and unstable. After her father inherited the Earl Spencer title in 1975, she became Lady Diana. The family moved from Park House to Althorp, their estate in Northamptonshire. For schooling, Diana was initially homeschooled by her governess, Gertrude Allen. Later, she attended Sillifurled Private School in King's Lynn, Norfolk, beginning her formal education there. This upbringing shaped Diana's early years, marked by family tensions and transitions. Her strained relationship with her stepmother and the move to Althorp were significant events that influenced her upbringing and perspective on life. When she was 9, she moved to Riddlesworth Hall School, an all-girls boarding school near Thetford. Later on, in 1973, she joined her sisters at Westheath Girls' School in Sevenoaks, Kent. But her academics largely suffered because of her bad performance in school, which some say is probably a result of her strained childhood and her parents' divorce and remarriage, which she largely witnessed. She even failed her O-levels twice. In spite of this, Diana stood out in terms of community service, and this outstanding spirit was recognized with an award from her school, Westheath. What she lacked in academics, she made up for in community engagement. She left Westheath when she was 16, and up until that point, her brother Charles says she was a very shy young lady. She also had great skills, including her excellent musical ability as a skilled pianist.
It's a well-known story told in an unexpected way, set to music on a Broadway stage.
I choose a fresh new start.
Diana the musical is framed around the Princess of Wales' relationship with Prince Charles.
She was an excellent swimmer and diver, and she also studied ballet and tap dance. It was only academics that was not her forte. Between 1979 and 1981, Diana lived at Coleherne Court in Chelsea, London. In 1978, she started a mini-career in line with her passion for children, working as a nanny for Philippa and Jeremy Whittaker in Hampshire. She attended a finishing school in Rougemont, Switzerland for one term, but left after Easter 1978. Back in London, she shared her mother's flat with 2 friends from school. In London, Diana took an advanced cooking course and worked various low-paying jobs. She was a dance instructor for youth until a skiing accident caused her to miss 3 months of work. Then, she worked as a playgroup preschool assistant, did cleaning for her sister Sarah, and acted as a hostess at parties. She also babysat for the Robertsons, an American family in London, and worked as a nursery teacher's assistant at the Young England School in Pimlico. In July 1979, her mother bought her a flat at Coleherne Court as an 18th birthday present. She lived there with 3 flatmates until February 25, 1981. It's amazing how she got involved with Prince Charles after such an eventful life. Royal marriage, sons' births, and lingering controversies. Diana and Prince Charles met in 1977 in unusual circumstances.
The love story between Prince Charles and Lady Diana is particularly steep in royal history, around which many rumors have surfaced up to this day.
As Charles was dating her sister Sarah, none of them could have imagined their future together. Charles thought she was jolly, and after his relationship with Sarah ended in 1978, they stayed friends. Diana attended Charles's 30th birthday party in Buckingham Palace in November 1978, and in January 1979, she met Charles again at a weekend shooting party at Sandringham as a guest of Queen Elizabeth II. Later in the summer of 1980, Diana and Prince Charles met again at a house party hosted by her friend Philip de Pass in New Grove. After observing her shy nature and wise way of speaking, Charles considered her a potential girlfriend, despite their 13-year age gap. While sitting on a bale of hay at a post-polo barbecue, Diana sympathized with Charles over the loss of his great-uncle, Lord Mountbatten. Her comforting words struck a nerve, and he decided to pursue a relationship with her.
It's always easy to be smart in hindsight, but when you look at this couple's soap opera, of body language throughout their marriage and before their marriage.
Did her words make him fall in love? Don't miss the next scene where things get even more interesting. After this, Prince was keen to spend more time with Diana, and he invited her to Balmoral to join him and a group of friends there for a summer holiday. This delighted Diana in no small measure, as she was beginning to adore Charles. After meeting about 13 times, Prince Charles proposed to Diana. He was said to be largely influenced by his father, Prince Philip, who TD'd him in a memo to stop playing the field and get married. His father had said, "You either marry this girl or let her go." Being confused as ever, he took this to mean that his father wanted her to marry Diana, and he proposed to her on February 3, 1981, after a few months of dating at Windsor Castle. Diana was so surprised that she first thought it a joke, but it was real. Prince Charles was damn serious. The formal engagement press call was on February 24, 1981, when after Beijing asked by reporters if they are in love, Diana had replied with certainty while Charles had said, "Whatever in love means." In March 1981, Charles flew to Australia and New Zealand for 5 weeks, leaving his newly betrothed behind. She's spotted crying at Heathrow Airport upon his departure, not because she is sad, but because before he left, he had taken a phone call with Camilla Parker Bowles, his ex. Notwithstanding all these, they got married on July 39, 1981 at St. Paul's Cathedral, with 2,650 guests, and a television audience of around 750 million people watching. Charles was wary of going through with the marriage, but he didn't want to let the royal family down. It would look as though Prince Charles was more eager to find a qualified bride than to actually find a love match. Although he was struck by some of her qualities, it wasn't necessarily love, considering that he was still very much in sync with his ex-girlfriend Camilla, a major problem that would later cause much problems in the marriage. Some believe that Prince Charles married Diana because he needed someone who would fit into the royals' family requirement of a prince, and also to produce his own heirs to the royal throne. Princess Diana's problems began right on her wedding day, because the royal family is a subject of intense media attention. It comes with the status, and anyone who is getting into the royal family must be ready to face the odds. Media attention had always been on Prince Charles ever since he started dating. Every of his love interests have been a subject of scrutiny by the press on whether or not they were fit for the royal throne. Diana was not an exception. When on their wedding day, she broke tradition by omitting the word obey from her vows, and it generated a lot of attention and criticism from the media all at once, launching her first hand into one of the many trials of the royal family. After the couple's fairy tale wedding, Diana felt overwhelmed by her royal duties and the intense media coverage of nearly every aspect of her life. The many duties and the lack of affection from the prince meant that they spent little time together, and the princess was not having it easy. Due to this, in January 1982, 12 weeks into her pregnancy with William, Diana deliberately threw herself down the stairs at the Sandringham House royal residence in Norfolk because she had eating disorder, bulimia, and was feeling so despondent and inadequate in her marriage to Charles. But the baby was unharmed. There was a ray of hope after the birth of their first son, William, on June 21, 1982, at St. Mary's Hospital in London, and Prince Charles, having attended the broth, described the experience as astonishing. The birth of their first son deepened the relationship between Diana and the prince a little. Diana experienced postpartum depression after her pregnancy with William and found the intense media attention surrounding her pregnancy difficult to bear. In 1983, when William was just 9 months old, Diana couldn't bear to leave him behind for a 6-week tour of Australia and New Zealand. She broke royal tradition by taking him along, sparking a mixed reaction from the press, from harsh criticism to applause from parts of the public. Then, on September 15, 1984, Princess Diana gave birth to Prince Harry, with Charles by her side. Interestingly, 6 weeks before Harry's birth, Charles had thought Diana was expecting a girl. When Harry, a boy, arrived instead, Diana kept it a surprise from Charles, perhaps enjoying the closeness it brought them. But Charles's disappointment over Harry's gender and his hair color strained their marriage further. Diana felt resentful, beginning a journey of secrecy and revenge. This bitterness lingered, And years later, Prince William began leaking royal secrets, drawing widespread media attention. It begs the question, why did Charles break the royal rule of secrecy, and why did both sons turn away from their father? Stay tuned, the most exciting part is just around the corner. Prince William's unveiled King Charles's secrets. In the recent royal biography Endgame, written by the royal analyst Omid Scobie, secrets and explosive claims revealed in the book about King Charles, marriage to Diana, and even under his rule were attributed to have been leaked by Prince William's. Interestingly, some claim that it is due to his overambition to become king one day that he broke the sacred code of the royal family, keeping the mouth sealed and keeping secrets. The secrets released by him corroborated the many suspicions of there being a foul play surrounding the death of Princess Diana, while also adding fresh perspectives to the long-forgotten life of Princess Diana. The news was that he leaked private information about both Harry, his brother, and King Charles. Princess Diana's death had been subject to one conspiracy theory or the other, and the most apparent one was that the driver was intoxicated. But more than this, the princess's suspicion of the royal family always plotting against her during her lifetime did not help matters. During her frustrating times with the prince, she believed at some point that Charles wanted her out of the way in order to marry his true love, Camilla. So, many implied that her death might not be a natural accident after all. One major open secret of Prince Charles was his affair with Camilla Parker Bowlers, both before and after the marriage with Princess Diana. On finding out, Camilla was a bone in Camilla's throat, coupled with the loneliness, extreme media attention, and the mental health issues that Diana faced after the marriage. On the Monday before her wedding, she had discovered a beautiful bracelet her future husband intended to give to Camilla. Diana considered calling off the wedding after discovering the bracelet, which confirmed her worst suspicions about Charles's relationship with Camilla. But after lunch with her older sisters, she was persuaded otherwise, telling her that it was too late to chicken out. Tremendously unhappy in their marriage by 1986, both Charles and Diana had extramarital affairs. In the late 1980s and early 1990s, Charles maintained constant communication with Camilla, who was also unhappily married to a promiscuous husband. Their affair reignited despite her troubled marriage, a fact Prince Charles admitted to his biographer Jonathan Dimbleby in 1994.
She was the villain. She was the third person in the marriage.
The villain Prince Harry is referring to is Camilla, King Charles's wife and now Queen Consort.
Meanwhile, rumors swirled that Diana had an affair with Army Captain James Hewitt, possibly in response to her own marital unhappiness. Between 1987 and 1992, their troubled marriage garnered intense media scrutiny. Diana's absence from Charles's family summer trip in 1987 sparked headlines about a royal rift. Public appearances often revealed their distant and unhappy demeanor, further fueling speculation about their relationship. The media closely followed their every move, analyzing their interactions and adding to the public's fascination with their marital struggles. In 1988, Georgina Howell reported that Diana was adored by everyone in the world, except her husband. The following year, in 1989, Princess Diana confronted Camilla Parker about her affairs with Prince Charles, which Camilla did not deny. This confrontation highlighted the strained dynamics within their marriage. Moving forward to May 1992, the publication of Diana, Her True Story, caused an international scandal. Biographer Andrew Morton detailed Prince Charles's mistreatment of Diana, including her struggles with self-harm, bulimia, and suicidal thoughts. Later that year, in November 1992, the Prince and Princess of Wales embarked on a disastrous official trip to South Korea. Their visible misery during the trip earned them the nickname the Glums in the media, signaling an apparent end to any semblance of cordiality between them. This turbulent period further intensified the media attention and speculation surrounding their troubled marriage. Separation, divorce, and Princess Diana's tragic death. All hell was let loose when the Prime Minister John Major announced in the House of Commons that Prince Charles and Princess Diana were amicably separating with no plans to divorce, and the decision on December 9, 1992. They both agreed to continue to participate fully in the upbringing of their children, he reads from a statement prepared by Buckingham Palace. In 1994, June 29th, Prince Charles attended an ill-advised tell-all interview which made Princess Diana and the royal family furious. Consequent to this, Princess Diana also sat down for the panorama interview with Martin Bashir.
Did your relationship with James Hewitt go beyond a close friendship?
Yes, it did. Yes.
Were you unfaithful?
Yes, I adored him. Yes, I was in love with him.
Where she spoke of her deep sadness in the marriage and how it had always been the three of them in the marriage, firing shots at Prince Charles and Camilla. In 1995, during the subsistence of the separation, Diana entered into a relationship with Hasnat Khan, a British Pakistani. The relationship was kept secret, but became public on November 3, 1996, after it was reported in the media. Diana tried to deflect and say they were not dating, which annoyed Hasnat, but they got past it, with Diana even visiting Hasnat's family. However, their indecision and lack of agreement on marriage led to their breakup in 1997. During this relationship, the marriage between Charles and Diana and its many controversies were laid to rest when Queen Elizabeth II wrote to Diana, requesting an early divorce for the country's sake. On June 15, 1996, the divorce between the Prince and Princess of Wales was granted. On August 28, 1996, the decree absolute arrived, and the couple was no longer married. That day, while getting ready for an engagement at the English National Ballet, Princess Diana's brother-in-law, Sir Robert Fellows, reportedly wished her good luck, stating that the divorce was an end to a wonderful story, to which she replied that it was the beginning of a new chapter. Diana received a significant financial settlement, but was stripped of her royal status. After the divorce, the cold relationship between the couple thawed, and Prince Charles even dropped by for Diana's 35th birthday. Whatever the Wales's post-divorce relationship could have been was shattered on August 31, 1997, when Princess Diana was killed in a Paris car crash. Surprisingly, it was Prince Charles and Diana's sisters who rushed to bring her home, and she was given a royal funeral. At her funeral, Prince Charles angered royal watchers by wearing a navy suit instead of mourning black. The children were left motherless and had to grieve their mother in front of the world. Prince Philip urged them to take part in their mother's funeral procession and guided them through it all. Both Prince William and Prince Harry later turned against their father in solidarity with their deceased mother. Although there is no love lost between the siblings, especially after Harry's marriage to Meghan and his disrespect to the royal family, they had one thing in common.
On September 7, 1997, William and Harry, then ages 15 and 12, followed a route that began at Kensington Palace to Westminster Abbey.
They probably resented King Charles for the life led with their mother. Despite Princess Diana's tumultuous life, she left a legacy behind. She stood up for herself when she took a big step forward and got treatment for her bulimia, which had tormented her for many years.
It's true. Harry has talked to his brother, and he has talked to his father, too.
Prince Harry sharing painful and deeply personal details of the family rift that rocked the British royal family and the world.
I don't think that we can ever have peace with my family unless the truth is out there.
We've seen the British royal family fight over absurd things, like a military uniform and Harry's beard, but it just took a shocking turn. Always regarded as a loyal ally of King Charles, Queen Camilla has now been caught in the crossfire of the battle between Harry and his father.
You and your brother both directly asked your dad not to marry Camilla.
Yes.
Why?
We didn't think it was necessary.
The fight was so dirty that she ordered the palace to limit the king's interaction with his younger son, leaving Charles in a difficult position. How did the royal family find itself in this predicament? And what are Harry and his stepmother's latest explosive moves? Join us as we bring you the latest episodes of the British royal feud, King Charles and Queen Diana. We know you are dying to hear the full gist. We can't wait to tell you either, so let's take a short walk into the past. The year was 2005. King Charles was getting ready to marry his new wife, Queen Camilla, formally, but his children were not particularly happy about it. Still, Prince Harry's opposition to the marriage stood out among them. If you recall the tales of princes and princesses, the wicked stepmother was always the villain.
She was the villain. She was the third person in the marriage. She needed to rehabilitate her image.
This unwanted family member is often portrayed as cold, uncaring, or dangerous. Prince Harry adopted a similar view about his stepmother. This became obvious after the release of his memoir, Spare.
Cover of Prince Harry's book, one of the most anticipated in decades. It's called Spare and goes on sale January 10th.
In the book, Harry discloses that he and his brother, Prince William, begged their father not to marry Camilla. Before that time, King Charles had been involved in a lengthy affair with Camilla, and even during his 15-year marriage to Princess Diana, Harry's mother, King Charles' affair with Camilla continued. Harry claimed in Spare that even though he and Willie urged their father not to proceed, he was determined to proceed. However, they shook his hand and wished him well, reassuring him that there were no hard feelings. He believed his father would finally be with the woman he loved, the one he had always loved more than his mother. Harry probably developed these feelings after watching everything between his father and his late mother. This brings up an important question. What was King Charles's relationship with Harry's mother like? While their 15-year marriage was blessed with the two princes, it ultimately ended in a bitter divorce, marked by mutual infidelity that shook the monarchy.
This is the first time in modern political history that the palace has had to announce the separation of the heir to the throne.
It is announced from Buckingham Palace that with regret, the Prince and Princess of Wales have decided to separate.
The most embarrassing part is just ahead. Nearly every dramatic moment of their relationship was exposed to the world, with some dirty secrets splashed across tabloids and others shared during interviews they gave. For instance, in 1995, Diana famously told the BBC that there were 3 of them in the marriage, making it a bit crowded.
Do you think Mrs. Parker Bowles was a factor in the breakdown of your marriage?
Well, there were 3 of us in this marriage, so it was a bit crowded.
Many believed that the third person referenced here was Queen Camilla, who had been secretly seeing King Charles during this period. Another disturbing revelation came during a television documentary about Prince Charles. While Charles discussed various topics, the documentary is most remembered for the moment he confessed to having been unfaithful to Diana. In the interview with journalist Jonathan Dimbleby, Charles stated that he had been absolutely faithful to Diana.
Did you try to be faithful and honorable to your wife when you took on the vow of marriage?
Yes, absolutely.
Until it became irretrievably broken down, us both having tried. However, Diana put up a stunt on the same day that Charles openly admitted to infidelity online. She made a public appearance wearing a striking black dress, later known as the revenge dress. This is where things got crazier. It appeared both parties had been cheating on each other. Diana, like Charles, acknowledged her infidelities during her interview with Martin Bashir on BBC's Panorama. She revealed that she had a 5-year relationship with Major James Hewitt, who had recently published a book detailing their affair.
A book was published called Princess in Love in 1994. Hewitt was a major source in this book, and he alleged that he'd had a 5-year affair with Princess Diana from 1986 to 1991. Diana then confirmed the affair in the 1995 Panorama interview.
Diana admitted that she was in love with James, but felt very let down by his publications of their relationship. That is not all. She also mentioned Charles's unfaithfulness and suggested that he was unsuitable for the throne, while also criticizing the monarchy for being out of touch with reality. The press had noted earlier that they seemed distant and unhappy during several public appearances. Some people believe that their marriage was so embarrassing for Queen Elizabeth that she supported and encouraged their decision to divorce. Unfortunately, Diana died in 1997, just a little over a year after they signed their formal divorce agreements.
The princess, who spent her life in the relentless glare of the public eye, died in a speeding car in Paris, apparently trying to evade pursuing photographers.
More frequently, King Charles began to see his mistress, Queen Camilla, and they finally decided to formalize their union in 2005. Neither Harry nor his brother were happy with their father's actions. In their opinion, it was unacceptable that the woman who scattered their parents' union would finally become their stepmother. However, it seemed Harry took it more personally than William's, as we would soon see, Prince Harry and Queen Camilla. We mentioned earlier that Harry tried to dissuade his father from getting married to Queen Camilla in 2005, but he failed. In his memoirs, Harry recalls moments that many stepchildren might relate to. They were the most challenging period to adjust to his father's new marriage. In one episode, probably from the late 90s, he was emotionally disturbed and worried whether Camilla would be cruel to him, much like the wicked stepmothers he had read in storybooks. He also mentions that William had long harbored suspicions about the other woman. Harry further claims that when he moved out of their former home, Clarence House, at 28, Camilla immediately converted his bedroom into her dressing room, as though she had been waiting for him to move out. Apart from these personal stories, Harry has gone further in his book and promotional interviews by openly criticizing Camilla's character. For instance, he accused her of having a calculated plan to repair her public image as the other woman. Harry believes that Camilla is aware that the public doesn't like nor regard her as a legitimate queen, so she draws up a strategy to marry his father and eventually become queen consort formally. One of the most surprising claims in Harry's memoir, Spare, and subsequent interviews, is his portrayal of Queen Camilla as a central antagonist. While Camilla was known for her charity work and efforts to rehabilitate her image during her relationship with King Charles, her efforts were acknowledged by the late Queen Elizabeth, who bestowed upon her the consort title on the eve of her Platinum Jubilee. However, Harry believes that Queen Camilla's attempts to improve her public image were more dirty than these. In an interview with ITV's Tom Bradby, he discussed the relationship between the royal family and the British press, describing it as being filled with briefings, leakings, and plantings.
The relationship between certain members of the family and the tabloid press, those certain members have decided to get into bed with the devil.
He accused some royal family members of metaphorically getting into bed with the devil, specifically pointing to an incident where Queen Camilla allegedly leaked personal information about him to the press. In exchange, the press gave more favorable coverage of the Queen's image. That is not all. In Spare, Harry claims that his father and Camilla's spin doctor decided to sacrifice his reputation by leaking details about his drug use in 2002. He added that King Charles sent him to a drug rehabilitation center to gain public sympathy for himself as a concerned father and to improve his relationship with the public. Harry also recounts that in 2019, William was furious because Pa and Camilla's people had planted stories about him, Kate, and the children. Fed up with the situation, William stated, "Give Pa and Camilla an inch, they take a mile." In another interview on 60 Minutes with Anderson Cooper, Harry intensified his criticism of Camilla, describing her as dangerous due to her connections with media members.
You wrote, "I even wanted Camilla to be happy. Maybe she'd be less dangerous if she was happy."
Mm-hmm.
How was she dangerous?
Because of the need for her to rehabilitate her image.
That made her dangerous.
That made her dangerous because of the connections that she was forging within the British press.
He claimed there was a mutual willingness between Camilla and the press to exchange information. Harry explained that within a family driven by hierarchy, and with Camilla on her path to becoming queen consort, it was inevitable that some people would be sacrificed along the way, saying there would be people or bodies left in the street. He further labeled his stepmother as the villain. He referred to her as the third person in the marriage, a remark that mirrors his mother Diana's famous statement in her 1995 interview with Martin Bashir, where she said, "There were 3 of us in this marriage." Harry said he had mixed emotions about gaining a stepmother, which he felt had recently undermined him for her public relations advantage. He writes, "I had complex feelings about gaining a step-parent who, I believed, had recently sacrificed me on her PR altar." Despite these feelings, he admits that he hoped for Camilla's happiness, thinking that perhaps she would be less dangerous if she was happy. But maybe the most troubling part of this story is King Charles getting caught in the crossfire between his lovely wife and younger son. Before we reveal that, it is important to talk about Harry's relationship with the king, Prince Harry and King Charles. Prince Harry's conflicts within the royal family go beyond his stepmother. He has also been at odds with his father for a long time. Their issues started a few years ago when his father objected to his decision to move abroad with his wife, Meghan Markle. In the Netflix documentary series Harry and Meghan, Harry recalled a tense encounter in 2020 that further damaged his relationship with his father. During a meeting with senior royals, his father confronted him aggressively and presented him with options: total commitment to the royal family or complete withdrawal. Harry chose a middle ground, opting to remain partially involved. However, neither Charles nor his brother, Prince William, approved this decision, leading to a heated confrontation. Harry described the experience as frightening. He also mentioned that his father made false accusations against him during the meeting, while his grandmother remained silent. Harry also recalled a painful episode from the 90s. He refers to it as one of the darkest moments of his life. His mother had just died in a fatal crash in Paris. When King Charles broke the news of Princess Diana's death to him, he showed no emotional support. Specifically, Charles simply placed a hand on Harry's knee and told him, "It's going to be okay," which Harry felt was a hollow reassurance and not the comfort he needed at that traumatic time. Harry probably thought the king already had Camilla as a replacement for his mum, especially since they had concluded their divorce process. Additionally, Harry disclosed that the royal family, particularly his father, did not provide him with adequate support during his struggles with PTSD following his military service in Afghanistan. He made more shocking revelations during a 2021 interview with Oprah Winfrey. Harry declared that his father, then Prince Charles, had been giving him silent treatment because he had decided to return from royal duties. He also mentioned that the royal family did not offer support when British tabloids relentlessly attacked his wife, Meghan. Although Harry wanted to mend ties, Charles stopped answering his calls. Despite the pain this caused, he declared a continued love for his father. This episode of Charles ignoring Harry's calls was later discussed in Robert Jobson's book, Our King, Charles III, The Man and the Monarch Revealed. The book offers a detailed portrayal of events behind the scenes and notes that Harry initially sought Queen Elizabeth's advice about his running issues with his father. However, she recommended that he and Charles resolve their differences directly rather than involving her as a mediator. The next revelation is even more interesting. Jobson reports that King Charles stopped answering Prince Harry's calls after Harry swore at him and repeatedly asked for money. When the late Queen Elizabeth questioned Charles why he didn't give in, he responded that he wasn't a bank. During his visit to the UK for Prince Philip's funeral in 2021, Harry tried to reconcile with Prince William and King Charles, but his attempts failed. Harry described the reunion in his memoir, Spare, noting that it quickly turned into another argument despite his efforts to avoid conflict. He added that the situation was beyond his control, as his father and brother had made up their minds, ready for a clash. Prince Harry had hoped to use the opportunity to explain his decision to move to California, but felt he never got the chance during the heated discussion. Reflecting on the moment, he said he tried to share his side but became anxious and struggled to control his emotions while attempting to speak clearly and concisely. Unfortunately, the family conversation quickly escalated into yet another argument. Harry recounted how tensions between him and his brother intensified until their father intervened, raising his hands and saying, "Enough!" Standing between his sons and looking up at their flushed faces, King Charles pleaded, "Please, boys, don't make my final years a misery." But let us put Harry's clash with King Charles aside for a while. Another critical controversy between them happened during the burial of Queen Elizabeth.
Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II has died. Queen Elizabeth has been monarch of the United Kingdom and head of the Commonwealth nations since 1952.
Military uniform controversy. During the burial rites of Queen Elizabeth in 2022, King Charles refused Harry's proposal to wear a military uniform. King Charles believed that Harry was no longer an active member of the royal family and did not deserve the honor of wearing the ceremonial uniform for the burial. However, here is where things get interesting. Charles allowed Prince Andrew, who had also stepped down from royal duties due to his ties with convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein, to wear his military uniform during the Queen's final vigil. There were different reactions to King Charles' decision. For instance, royal biographer Christopher Anderson told Us Weekly that the choice was expected, adding, "It was the Queen's wish, and Charles wanted to ensure her wishes were honored." On the other hand, commentator Shola Mos-Shogbamamu strongly criticized the move, telling Newsweek, "This is a clear case of double standards. It shows how out of touch the royal family is and their failure to grasp public sentiment, sending entirely the wrong message." Despite initial resistance, Prince Charles eventually allowed Prince Harry to wear his military uniform. However, the damage was done, further straining the relationship between Harry and Charles. In their Netflix docuseries, Prince Harry mentioned that his family had difficulty understanding his reasons for leaving the royal family. Although they tried to address the situation at Philip's funeral, their efforts were unsuccessful. The most pressing issue within the royal family now seems to be responsibility. Stay tuned as we reveal more about this unfolding situation. Prince Harry feels that his brother and father are solely responsible for not understanding his reasons for leaving the royal family. He also doubts he will ever receive a sincere apology or see any accountability. Harry added that he and Meghan have moved forward and are concentrating on their future. Rumors abound that King Charles's relationship with his beloved Queen Camilla is not always as smooth as it seems to the public.
Charles and Camilla tomorrow. You know, their love story has been at the center of TV dramas. It's been splashed across the tabloids. But now, after a decades-long, often controversial love affair,
King Charles is torn between Harry and Queen Camilla. Royal insiders have claimed that King Charles is facing a challenging year with rising tensions and strained relationships. But this time, not just restricted to Harry alone, but Queen Camilla. Despite appearing normal in public, the king feels pressure from these situations. Queen Camilla has taken a firm stance against King Charles, welcoming Prince Harry and daughter-in-law Meghan back into the royal family. According to palace insiders, Camilla has barred Harry from seeing his father or staying at any royal residence without prior notice. Sources close to the monarch also added that Charles was blindsided. Camilla took matters into her own hands. This is all unfolding as the king attempts to reconcile with Harry. The report added that Camilla's request led to their biggest ever fight and left their marriage on the rocks. While some insiders claim that Camilla is now advocating for peace, sources told the National Enquirer that she harbors no affection for Harry, especially after he attacks her person. The palace sources also revealed that Camilla seemed to be the power behind the throne, and her role has grown increasingly more important since the king had to step back for cancer treatment. Firm when he confessed to feeling guilty about Harry not being a better father during his childhood. Despite the ongoing issues with Harry, another source revealed that Charles is willing to forgive, though only on his terms. But Camilla doesn't want him to feel any guilt. In fact, she doesn't see the need for the king to mend ties with his younger son. However, the drama between King Charles and his wife only goes a little beyond Harry's matter. For instance, Queen Camilla was not happy when King Charles publicly disclosed his treatment for an enlarged prostate and cancer diagnosis earlier this year.
we've received breaking news from Buckingham Palace, which has announced that the King has been diagnosed with cancer.
According to Robert Jobson, author of the 2023 biography, Our King, Charles III, The Man and the Monarch Revealed, the 75-year-old king ultimately announced, despite fierce opposition from his wife. Jobson explained to The Independent that Queen Camilla had initially been against disclosing his condition, but the king overruled her, believing it was an opportunity to lead by example and encourage men with similar symptoms to seek prompt medical attention. Beyond serious matters such as the king's health and Harry's running issues with the royal family, the king and Queen Camilla have also clashed over minor issues. Queen Camilla's sister, Annabelle Elliott, provides insight into this private struggle. In a conversation with Robert Hardman, as reported by OK, Annabelle explained that the tension partly arises from Charles and Camilla being opposites. One of their main private disputes involves whether to keep the windows open while sleeping, which has led to frequent disagreements. Annabelle described the dispute. He will have opened it. She will sneak in behind and close it. So there's a lot of, "Oh darling, you shut the window," Yes, I have, because we're all freezing. So there's a lot of playful banter about it. She also noted that while King Charles usually wins the battle over the windows, Camilla tends to win most other things in their marriage. Despite the running issues, Queen Camilla has grown increasingly influential in the royal family. Queen Camilla, Harry's dilemma. Queen Camilla has stepped up her role in the royal family in recent months due to King Charles's health challenges and cancer treatment. Her growing influence within the royal household has led to fears that King Charles may never fulfill his desire to mend ties with Harry. However, Camilla is only sometimes the celebrity queen you see today. It took her years to build this reputation with the British people. This takes us back to 1981, during the wedding of Charles and Diana. Diana spotted a woman in a pale gray dress and pillbox hat as she walked up the aisle, as reported by Sky News. That woman was Camilla. Caroline Davies noted in The Guardian that the close bond between Camilla and the future king was so powerful that it disrupted both their marriages, outraged the British royal family, and portrayed Camilla as a scheming marriage wrecker throughout Britain. The most critical moment in their relationship came in 1993. Someone leaked a secretly recorded phone conversation between the two in what is known as the Tampon Gate scandal.
For my wife, myself, and indeed for the entire royal family, culminating in the recent despicable broadcast of private telephone conversations, unlawfully recorded between myself and a married woman of my acquaintance, Camilla Parker Bowles.
The recording contained explicit and embarrassing details of their long-term affair, including intimate conversations. Remember that both were married to different partners then. The leak brought negative publicity, especially for Camilla. Following Princess Diana's 1995 interview, in which she publicly acknowledged Camilla's presence in her marriage and referred to her as a Rottweiler, the media labeled the Queen the most hated woman in Britain. This negative reputation proved difficult for Camilla to overcome. However, according to Davies of The Guardian, had Diana not tragically died in a car accident in Paris in 1997, public acceptance of Camilla as a future queen might have been less challenging. Despite the growing acceptance of their relationship, the tragic event forced the couple to put their P. Camilla temporarily, and was compelled to maintain a low profile. A friend told The Times that Camilla's resilience and strong sense of duty have been instrumental in helping her through these difficult circumstances. Fast forward to today, Queen Camilla, once viewed as a controversial figure within the House of Windsor and a central player in the troubled marriage of King Charles to the late Princess Diana, has become one of the monarchy's most important representatives. Camilla gracefully filled the gap when the King and Kate, the Princess of Wales, could not fulfill their royal duties due to cancer treatments. She also expanded her public engagements and kept the royal family in the public spotlight. However, there are reports that Prince Harry wants to reunite with the royal family. Let us look at what this means for Queen Camilla. You cannot afford to miss this part.
She said she wanted Prince Charles's wife, Camilla, to take the title of Queen Consort when he becomes king.
Harry's future relationship with Queen Camilla and the royal family. There have been indications that Prince Harry is interested in returning to the United Kingdom and reintegrating into the royal family, which could lead to a reconciliation with his father. According to the Mail on Sunday, Harry has been reaching out to former royal aides and old friends to re-establish himself in British social circles. Aside from that, other signs indicate that he may be ready to move on from the past and reconnect with the royal family. The media also reported that he is seeking advice from people he knew as a working royal after expressing dissatisfaction with the counsel he received in the United States. Just last month, it was revealed that his chief of staff, Josh Kettler, had resigned after only 3 months in the position. A source told the Mail on Sunday, Harry is distancing himself from Hollywood publicists and seeking guidance from his old friends and associates in the UK. It's clear that he's realizing, I need to make a change because my current approach isn't working. In essence, he's reevaluating his strategy. Mail on Sunday also revealed that Prince Harry has sent friendly WhatsApp messages to old friends who are willing to assist him in reintegrating into British society to some extent. However, how easily Harry would reconcile with British culture needs to be clarified, especially with his running issues with his brother and stepmother, Queen Camilla. Some friends reportedly refer to the effort to facilitate Harry's partial return as Operation Bring Harry In from the Cold. A source told The Sun, Harry is feeling increasingly isolated in California, which is why he has been reconnecting with old friends back home. Prince Harry might need to address the ongoing tensions with his royal relatives to reintegrate into British social circles. Reports indicate that King Charles is open to reconciling with Prince Harry. However, Harry has an ongoing legal dispute with the British government over his security details. After stepping down from royal duties in 2020,
the weekend's announcements that Harry and Meghan will step back from all royal duties.
The Home Office reduced Harry's level of protection. Harry filed an action. He lost the case but plans to appeal. Royal sources believe the king would prefer if Harry dropped the case entirely. Prince Harry has also filed a lawsuit against a British tabloid, alleging unlawful information gathering about his life. However, his father did not support his legal efforts. In fact, since 2019, Harry has filed lawsuits against 3 of Britain's leading tabloid publishers. Harry stated that King Charles warned him that his legal actions were a suicide mission rather than supporting him. Another potential issue they must resolve is the upcoming paperback release of Harry's controversial memoir, Spare. While paperback editions of non-fiction books often include additional chapters or updated information, the Spare paperback version may not contain any new content. Some believe that Harry decided not to include more chapters as a possible olive branch to King Charles, Prince William, and the rest of the royal family. Although the book will have a new cover design, its content will remain unchanged. It seems Prince Harry is coming back home. Thank you for staying with us. What should King Charles do about the rivalry between his wife and younger son? Share your opinions with us in the comments section. If you enjoyed the video, like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Also, click the following video on your screen, and you will enjoy it.